Three American presidents dying on July 4th seems like an incredible coincidence, but what's even more fascinating is how one of them, James Monroe, helped transform a fragile young nation into an emerging world power.
You know what's remarkable about that transformation, Grana? Monroe was literally there from the beginning, wounded at the Battle of Trenton under Washington's command.
That military experience significantly shaped his entire approach to leadership, KALIN. When he became president in 1817, he brought this unique combination of battlefield courage and diplomatic finesse. The man had served as both Secretary of State and Secretary of War simultaneously during the War of 1812.
Hmm. Speaking of diplomacy, his handling of the Florida situation was pretty masterful.
Oh, Kaylin, that's such a fascinating story. So, Florida was basically this lawless territory under weak Spanish control, becoming a haven for runaway slaves and raiders. Monroe and John Quincy Adams managed to negotiate this incredible deal, not just acquiring Florida, but also securing Spanish claims to the Pacific Northwest, all without firing a shot.
And that diplomatic success really set the stage for what became his most enduring legacy, the Monroe Doctrine, though I think most people don't realize how bold that declaration was for its time.
Right? Here's this relatively young nation, still recovering from the War of 1812, essentially telling the entire European continent, hey, the Western Hemisphere is off limits for colonization. Like, who did that back then?
Though let's be honest, America didn't really have the military muscle to back up that doctrine at the time.
No, but, and this is what makes it so interesting, it was this perfect example of Monroe's ability to see the bigger picture. He was essentially laying the groundwork for American foreign policy over the next century, betting on American power to grow in line with its ambitions.
So, what about this era of good feelings during his presidency? Was it really as harmonious as it sounds?
On the surface, there was an incredible national unity. The Federalist Party had collapsed, leaving the Democratic Republicans under Monroe as the only major party. But underneath, you had these massive challenges brewing, especially around slavery.
Like the Missouri Compromise of 1820, right? That must have been incredibly tense to navigate.
Oh, Caleb, you have no idea. Monroe actually did something fascinating there. He gathered written opinions from every single cabinet member about whether the compromise was constitutional. He knew this wasn't just about Missouri, it was about the future of the entire nation.
That's such a thoughtful approach to what must have been an incredibly divisive issue.
And you know what's really interesting about Monroe? While he was handling these massive national issues, he and his wife, Elizabeth, were also dealing with a vast personal project, literally rebuilding the White House after it was burned by the British. Oh, Grana, didn't they use their own furniture and personal items to help restore it? Exactly, Kaylin and Elizabeth. Wow, she has a fantastic story that often gets overlooked. When Monroe was ambassador to France, she literally saved Madame Lafayette from the guillotine by visiting her in prison and using her diplomatic status to secure her release.
That kind of personal courage really adds another dimension to the Monroe presidency.
It really does, Grana. And here's what I find most poignant about Monroe's story. After all his service to the country, after helping build America into an emerging power, he ultimately faced severe financial difficulties in his later years.
Kalin, that really speaks to how different public service was back then. These weren't career politicians looking to build personal wealth.
No, and that's what makes Monroe such a fascinating figure. He was a bridge between two eras, the last of the revolutionary generation to serve as president, yet also the first to truly project American power globally. His presidency marked the end of one chapter in American history and the beginning of another.
And many of the issues he dealt with, regional divisions, the role of government, America's place in the world, those are still relevant today, aren't they?
Absolutely relevant. The Monroe Doctrine still influences foreign policy, and his approach to handling national crises, seeking balance, gathering diverse opinions, and thinking long term, is something modern leaders could learn from. You know what they say, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it.